Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Amp2.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of You and Your Doctor, sponsored by All County Healthcare. We are a certified home health care agency servicing Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County. Our phone number is 954-717-7027. I am your host, Louise Gomez, and today we're going to delve into a little bit deeper about All County. We have with us Clayton Williams. Everybody say hello to Clayton Williams. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Louise. It's good to be with you.
Absolutely. You know, I figured we'd launch the year and really let people know, like delve a little deeper, you know, what is All County, what do we do, and what kind of makes us stand apart from the others. So, Clayton, tell us a little bit about your title, what you do, and a little bit more of the company.
Yeah, so I've been with the company 3 years. All County's been around for 30 years, and I've known Cynthia, the owner, for many years. Her and I had partnered in the past, and I joined the company around 2021. So it was the time for me to make a move, and Cynthia and I were close. So
nice.
I ended up making the move, and it turned out to be the right move.
Right, and that was like during the peak of, let's say, like COVID. So were you super busy during that time, or what was business like during 2021?
You know, it was an interesting time. It was really weird because I guess 2020 is when it happened.
Right.
There was layoffs and people were getting furloughed. Like it was basically companies across the board, and there was a lot of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. And Cynthia had just bought out her old partner who had kind of aged within the business. So her plan was, when she was forming her new team under her sole ownership, was a growth mindset. So that's when she brought me on, and we brought on some marketers, and we've seen 100% growth, like year over year, since that 2021 time period.
And I think people want to be, from my experience, people seem like they want to recover at home.
Right.
They want to do, because what else, so we do PT, OT, what all do we do, so we could talk about what they can do at home.
Yeah, PT, OT, speech, and we at All County, we provide something that's not actually covered by Medicare. We kind of do it pro bono, but we make it work within the doctor's order.
Okay.
So for whatever reason, Medicare doesn't reimburse for respiratory therapy.
Oh, okay.
But we have a respiratory therapy team. We have a special device that we use. It's called IPV, interpulmonary percussion ventilation. So it really allows to remove any obstruction to help our patients get a nice deep breath and to cough, and so they're able to cough on their own, and we see wonderful results. But you're right, just to speak to, going back to COVID and people wanting to be cared for in the home, you would have thought, like if you would have asked me 12 years ago when I got into this industry, like, hey, there's going to be a pandemic in your lifetime, I would have said, well, my business would be booming. But it really was, like I say, it's just a lot of uncertainty. So you might have thought people wanted to be helped out in their home, but people were really scared. So yeah, it was challenging times, but the market has really come back. It's really rebounded, and I do agree that if you can avoid going to a nursing home, the faster you can get discharged from a hospital, you want to be cared for in your home. I'm sure you would probably say that for your mom or dad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we accept, what is it that we accept here at All County?
Yeah.
types of care?
So currently we're a Medicare agency. So Medicare certified, that means if a doctor sees that, they just know that we can take anything that they're able to order.
Okay.
That's the way that it's supposed to be. So those are traditional Medicare patients, and we're servicing things like IV antibiotics in the home,
Okay.
wound care, specialty skilled services. A lot of our patients have cancer, ostomies,
Okay.
unique wounds,
Yeah.
various things. Anything that doctor orders, we're supposed to be able to staff a nurse for. And then every therapy discipline, so PT, OT, speech, and respiratory.
Okay. So if somebody in our audience is listening right now and they're thinking, wow, my aunt or my parent or a loved one that I have, they need these services, what is it that they should do? They should call directly to call into us?
Yeah, they can call in, and we have a dedicated liaison that working in the territory that they live in, and we cover, like you mentioned, the Tri-County area, Palm Beach all the way down to Dade. But yeah, if anyone was listening and we were able to help them, they just call their doctor, and their doctor would he knows how the order goes. He would write the order and send us their demographics and progress notes, and we would be out there the next day to care for the family.
And this is a family-owned business, right? So let's speak into what makes us special and how we are different from others.
Yeah, very nice question. So, in my role would be to think about the marketers day to day, and while this is healthcare, we're in the South Florida market. There's no shortage of companies doing what we're doing.
True.
Even some of our largest agencies that we are competing with are owned by hospital groups, and so it really begs the question, like, why are patients gravitating towards all county? And I would say that's something that makes my job easy, is kind of like the work product. So your sales team is going to live and breathe and depend on what actually that you're doing to provide, like demonstrating real value and learning the needs of your client base. So not only are we satisfying families with our care, we're also an extension of the doctor's practice. So doctor sends us a referral, we're out there the next day. If they have any problems, they're going to be calling the doctor's office. So we go above and beyond to really give that family touch. We are very much so like a boutique agency. So I would just say the best things about us is that we have some of the owners' families. Some of the, like Cynthia, our owner, her daughter is one of our main nurses. She's kind of like a
That's amazing.
auxiliary nurse. She'll go out and do anything that we need. She's case
Nice.
manages from inside the office. She's kind of like the master of all trades that we have. But that just speaks to kind of how we think about conducting business at all counties, that we really are sending out owners of the business who are the largest stakeholders in our business, are caring for our patients. And
Wow. That speaks volumes, because it kind of reminds me of back in the day where there was like mom and pop home businesses. It really made me feel that they would want to go above and beyond, as opposed to I'm just going to a like a Home Depot, as opposed to a private hardware store that's privately owned. They will go out of their way in that example, and just like us, we will go out of our way because we have family owned people that are actually working. So yeah, that's I think that's something that society wants to get back to.
yeah, you always hear those stories of the small mom and pop, and you get that nice family touch, and no one has more of a vested interest in the business than the owners, who are very hands-on within their business. So that's really how we operate.
Yeah, and going back to the IPV, I did meet Ed Salazar. I know that he's very involved in the IPV, and he actually told me some very amazing case studies and patients that he's had that had amazing success, an amazing progress with the IPV therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something that's really overlooked because it's not something that's normally ordered.
Right.
hospitals are always watching for patients that may be readmitted to the hospital. That's really how they're managing their success throughout the patient's stay. They say, we want to discharge this patient and we really want them to just stay and be at home. You know, we're measuring ourselves as if they come back, we didn't do our job the first time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and so we've thought outside the box of how we could construct a formulary to assist these really unique patients who are across the board have some COPD diagnosis, and we're out there servicing them and really measuring and monitoring their outcome so that they're not going back to the hospital. We have, like you say, Ed Salazar, he's highly regarded in the industry. Like I take him everywhere, and everyone knows who he is.
Right.
He has a wonderful reputation. People feel really comfortable sending their COPD patients to him, but you know, we really deliver on the back end, and we've had even patients that come on this show that want to talk about their outcomes. So we're very happy with that.
I interviewed a doctor, can't remember his name now, but he had to have the IPV therapy, and he said it saved his life.
Yeah. We've had patients that, you know, had been bedbound, who were homebound, really couldn't get off their oxygen, and they do a couple episodes of the IPV, and they were able to take a vacation with their family and go skiing again, like things that they thought they would never be able to do.
Yeah.
And again, it's just something that a lot of people aren't offering because it's really not something that's covered by Medicare. It's some unique out-of-the-box service that we kind of package and put together, so that we're thinking of a 360 approach. We're always going to help the patient, that's first and foremost, but it's really what are we delivering back to our doctors and our hospital partners to really show them that, you know, when you discharge the patient, they're in our hands, so we're doing anything and everything so that they're not coming back, or if when they're coming back with good, positive results.
Absolutely. And what can we say about, you know, I always hear elderly people, they have a fall and they slip and fall, and then they end up, you know, going to the hospital, then they go into, this seems to be, from what I've seen, people I know, the pattern, you know, go into the hospital, go into rehab, and then they have to go home, and they're like, you know, I can't, you know, I can't do the normal chores that I was able to do. What would you suggest for people listening now that maybe they need to call in and make an order for an occupational therapist or a physical therapist? What type of chores or things do they would qualify? Like, what would be the basic information for people to say, oh, your mom qualifies for OT or PT because, like, what are some of the basics?
Yeah, fall prevention is a big one, and the OT is, you know, perhaps someone's there and they need help with just their activities of daily living. This could be cooking, or even they say perhaps they have tremors and they can't button their shirt. You know,
I didn't think of that.
So we come out and we do a full assessment and we evaluate the patient, and it's a really good question. The government's kind of thought about this in a meaningful way, and they've put together a program like a care transition. So you can get, apart from your primary care physician, you can get like an ARNP, a nurse practitioner, that will come out to your home, and she'll give you a care transition visit in your home. And then we're getting just all the extra information. So we're getting progress notes and orders from the doctor. And then we're getting extra orders and information from a physician when they go out to the patient's home. So we're looking for anything where they might be a step or a rug that we remove because they could fall, or setting up their house in a way where they're going to be able to ambulate and be mobile, but also being safe. So
we have a quick commercial break. We'll be right back, and we'll continue this conversation. Stay tuned, everybody.
All County Healthcare has exciting news for any and all patients with COPD or other respiratory ailments. Listen to what renowned pulmonologist Dr. Keith Robinson has to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Keith Robinson, board-certified pulmonologist, medical director at Fusion Health Pulmonary Rehabilitation, and a board member with the American Lung Association of South Florida. We have exciting news for patients with COPD. We now offer IPV therapy at home, which has been demonstrated to improve airway clearance, decrease hospitalization, and improve quality of life of patients with COPD. Please call All County Healthcare for more information about this FDA-approved therapy.
For further information, call All County Healthcare now at 954-717-7027. That is 954-717-7027. Or visit our website at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, All County Healthcare always puts the patient's needs first. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back, everybody. We have Clayton Williams with us from All County Healthcare. Our number is 954-717-7027. And Clayton, we were just kind of finishing off the conversation with transitional care. People saying, oh, I think my parent may need this or that. So you were explaining how you'll do an assessment. They'll come in and actually do an assessment, and then...
Yeah, so we're getting our patients from a couple different places. So one place would be directly admitted to the hospital, and that patient's leaving the hospital and they're going directly home.
Right.
And so we'd be getting a call from the social worker or the care manager there. And so we're going to handle that patient slightly differently than we would someone coming out of their doctor's office.
Okay.
So we're getting direct information from the primary care. At the end of the day, they're all going to get a full evaluation and treat. And so there's going to be a nurse that's going to be assigned to them and will be on their case for the life of the care. So they really get that continuity of care, and that individual nurse knows a lot about their patient. But yeah, the more notes that we get, the better. And we're in their home with them. We're seeing their diet. We're setting up their meds.
That's important.
Yeah, keeping their house very safe. So
I feel like that's another aspect that we help to bring safety to them, because somebody from our organization going into their home, they can see a potential danger, or they can, be alerted of potential things that can be addressed. So that's really, really good to have that.
that's right.
Yeah. So I think I was going to ask you, tell us a little bit more, how many people are working at All County, and what is your day-to-day as well?
Yeah, so we have about 65 employees, and we lean a lot on our contracted partners.
Okay, nice.
Because we're going far and wide, and sometimes you need someone to service, perhaps in an area where you don't have a full-time employee. So when you count the contractors, it's many more, into the hundreds.
Oh, okay, nice.
And we have aides that will go out, because we have a private side of the business, and we have several hundred patients on that side of the business. So each one of those patients have an aide. So we're very lucky to service the Tri-County area. We service, the Medicare population, and we're also servicing the cash-paying population. Someone's calling in for their mother or father and paying out of the long-term care policy, or paying for that companion visit, the one-on-one visit where they take mom and dad to the doctor.
Right.
Maybe are there during their hospice, palliative care.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, about several hundred employees now, 65 dedicated team, but then we have a lot of caregivers out in the field. And a day-to-day for me is just really thinking about the marketers and what they're doing. They're all dedicated to a territory, and they're holding the hands of the physicians in those territories, and working with our hospital partners. We're constantly providing them feedback and providing them the results of the care that we're providing. And so when I'm not out and about with the marketers, I'm really just thinking about day-to-day operations to make their life easy. And every doctor will know this. The doctors that come on our show know that the healthcare system is inundated with paperwork. So we're doing a lot of paperwork. So chasing around the paperwork and that gives us a reason to follow up with the doctors.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. And it changes so frequently, the rules and the regulations, right?
It does.
So that's true. It gives you a good reason to call and follow up.
It does. So, you know, they're perhaps for good reason. They're giving you things to think about. So it's a highly regulated industry on the Medicare side.
Yes.
You know, it's just, that's across the board. That's just
Sure.
not home health.
Of course. I had a question about long-term care. Is it possible that someone has long-term care, their parent has long-term care, maybe they paid for it in, let's say, a life insurance policy, and maybe even the kids aren't even aware of that? Or
Yeah, it's a very good question, because it's not the insurance that you're using when you go to the
Right.
hospital or when you go check into the doctor. So, you know, there are these benefits that are riders on your long-term or your life insurance policy that are
Right.
long-term care,
Right.
and that is precisely where we come in. So that's why you bought that benefit, say, many years ago, and you paid into it.
Exactly.
And so you get that one-on-one care in the home. You get that personal caregiver, and those types of policies make it so mom and dad don't have to live in the nursing home.
Right.
Or if they do move into an assisted living facility, they have a private caregiver that can come in and be with them. So
Yeah.
everyone's situation is unique and different.
Sure.
But that long-term care policy will pay any agency like ours to go out there and perform like the one-on-one private care with them.
yeah, I can see that someone maybe paid for it years ago, and maybe even they just forgot it was in there, or just who knows what, and don't realize they have that coverage, right?
I guess it's a very important question that kids should be asking parents.
That's
like,
true.
What are the benefits that mom and dad have, so they know what they can, so they know what questions to ask when they do get admitted to the hospital.
This is true because we all know that, you know, caregiver burnout is a real thing. There are a lot of people, you know, in their 50s or whatever age, and they have a full-time job, and then they have to come home and take care of their parents.
Yeah.
This is where you guys come. This is where we come in.
Yeah, it's, you know, whenever you get a call from a patient's family and they're really, they don't even know where to start. They've been
Right.
given our number by someone out in the community, and say they live in New Jersey. This is like a recent case. They're not here, but they're in town visiting because mom's in the hospital. And so we're just explaining the process, but you're exactly right. There are people, you know, the caregivers have lives and a livelihood, and they get sick also. They call out, and they have vacations and family time. So if you have a full-time person, it's not just one person that we're staffing to your case. We're really thinking about 3 or 4 individuals that are dedicated to your family members. So it is something that we think about in a meaningful way, just to make sure that we're covering our patients around the clock.
Yes.
You know, so it's a very good question, and it's something to think about when you're calling an agency, because these folks will go out and they'll look for, you know, private people on their own, and they run into these challenges. This is precisely why agencies like ours exist.
Yes. So if anybody's listening, call us, 954-717-7027. And like you said, we have a dedicated line for people just to call in, and maybe they have questions and need answers, right?
Yeah. We'll look at your area, and we'll have somebody that can even come out and sit with you and meet with you, and you can interview the caregivers as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So any future predictions about, I don't know, all-county future in healthcare, or what do you think coming down the road?
Yeah, you know, it's always puts you in a tough spot, I guess, to make predictions. But I guess we have a new administration coming in, and there's been a lot of talk about them shaking a lot of things up.
That's good sometimes, right?
Yeah, Department of Government Efficiency. So that'll be very interesting to see how things take shape. But I'm always optimistic that, you know, our Medicare beneficiaries, they've paid into this service, and they should get the benefits out of the service that really makes sense for them. And this is something that is really only 2% of the entire Medicare spend. So
interesting. Okay.
I'm optimistic that we see a lot more resources come into the home health care market, because I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, to have the Medicare beneficiaries on service for as long as they possibly can, so that satisfies those other things that we think about, like the readmission rates to the hospital and the spend that they're having out in the community, the doctor's offices and the nursing homes.
I'm optimistic too, you know. I'm actually optimistic. But we have one more minute. I can't believe how fast this interview is going. So any last minute thoughts, anything you want to share with the audience in the next, for the next minute or less?
You know, I'm sure I'll think of something right when we jump off the air.
Of course.
But it's just great to be here with you, and thank you for having me on the show
appreciate it.
today.
Yes.
It's a great way to start the new year, and
I agree.
yeah, I think just going forward, I'm always looking forward for our patient population to get healthy. You know, we're in the business of servicing patients, but it really always is a good day for us when we discharge someone with
Right?
really good outcomes.
I agree.
And so we're always here, and we're always happy to help. And
Yes.
they can give us a call at any time, and I'll speak with them personally.
Yeah. And we have some real good feel-good stories, some real good success cases. So
Yeah.
we can definitely share that with anybody who calls.
That's always the best part.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week. Take care, Clayton.
Thank you, Louise. I appreciate you.
Nice interviewing you. Have a good night, everybody.